Welcome back. So as you can see on the screen, we're still with the ancestor Moses Roper, known for running away and protesting the institution of slavery. So let me catch you up. He had a chance reunion with his family, but it didn't go well. And now here we are. So let me jump in. We then went on for 50 miles. I was weak and could hardly sit on the horse. Having been in prison so long, I had lost the southern tan. And as the people could not see my hair, having my hat on, they thought I was a white man, a criminal, and asked what crime I had committed. We arrived late at night at the house of Mr. Britton. I shall never forget the journey that night. The thunder was one continued roar, and the lightning blazing all around. I expected every minute that my iron collar would attract it, and I should be knocked off the horse and dragged along the ground. So he was afraid of being electrocuted. This gentleman a year or two before had liberated his slaves and sent them into Ohio. As you remember, Ohio is a free state. Having joined the Society of Friends refers to the Quakers, which society does not allow the holding of slaves. I was therefore treated very well there, and they gave me a hearty supper, which did me much good in my weak state. So I'm happy to hear this is the first time I'm hearing seriously about religious people in this narrative, Christians who behaved in a Christian manner. Usually he's talking about some severe, savage hypocrite who is inflicting pain and hate, but here we have a good example. Continuing, they secured me in the night by locking me to the post of the bed on which they slept, which means they deprived him of his sleep. The next morning we went to Salisbury. At that place we stopped to water the horses. They chained me to a tree in the yard by the side of their chaise. The chaise is the seat or the carriage part of the transportation, horse and carriage. On my horse they had put the saddlebags which contained the provisions. As I was in the yard, a black man came and asked me what I had been doing. I told him I had run away from my master, after which he told me several tales about the slaves, and among them he mentioned the case of a Quaker. So I don't know now if this Quaker is black or white, but hear me, this is me talking, who was then in prison. So he told him about a Quaker who was then in prison, waiting to be hung. And what was this man's crime? For giving a free pass to a slave. I had been considering all the way how I could escape from my horse, and once had an idea of cutting his head off, that is the horse, but thought it too cruel, and at last thought of trying to get a rasp, which is something used for cutting, and cut the chain by which I was fastened to the horse. As they often let me get on nearly a quarter of a mile before them, I thought I should have a good opportunity for doing this without being seen. The black man procured me a rasp, and I put it into the saddle bags which contained the provisions. So I wanted to point out, though Moses Roper loves freedom, he puts a limit on his conduct, that he was unwilling to harm another creature by chopping the head of the horse off for his freedom. We then went on our journey, and one of the sons asked me if I wanted anything to eat. I answered no, though very hungry at the time, as I was afraid of their going into the bags and discovering the rasp. However, they had not had their own meal at the inn, as I supposed, and went to the bags to supply themselves, where they discovered the rasp. Upon this, they fastened my horse beside the horse in the chaise, and kept a stricter watch over me. Nothing remarkable occurred till we got within 8 miles of Mr. Gooch's, where we stopped a short time, and taking advantage of their absence, I broke a switch from some boughs above my head, lashed my horse, and set off at full speed. I had got a quarter of a mile before they could get their horses loosed from the chaise. One then rode the horse, and the other ran as fast as he could after me. When I caught sight of them, I turned off the main road into the woods, hoping to escape their sight. Their horse, however, Being much swifter than mine, they soon got within a short distance of me. I then came to a rail fence, which I found it very difficult to get over. But breaking several rails away, I effected my object. So I succeeded in breaking the fence and escaping through that. Then they called upon me to stop more than 3 times, and I not doing so, they fired after me, but the pistol only snapped. This was according to the law. After 3 calls, they may shoot a runaway slave. Soon after, the one on the horse came up with me, and catching hold of the bridle of my horse, pushed the pistol to my side. The other soon came up, and breaking off several stout branches from the trees, they gave me about 100 blows. They did this very near to a planter's house. The gentleman was not at home, but his wife came out and begged them not to kill me so near the house. They took no notice of this, but kept on beating me. Let me pause here real quick. So I keep on harping on this point because people keep on trying to make this point that only a small number of people were enslaved in America and it wasn't central to our economy. We don't make laws against things. Like we see there's a law, you could execute a person for writing free papers for someone. Do you know how severe the crime has to be for someone to be executed? Yeah, so that's how important it was. And then you see here, there's a law. If they call you 3 times and you don't respond, they can kill you. We only codify and make laws about things that are important to us. So yes, slavery was central, and I will keep saying it. All right. Soon after, the one on the horse came up with me and catching hold of the bridle of my horse and pushed the pistol to my side. So we got that. They came. So, and then we had that lady, she came out and she begged them not to kill him near the house. So you see, this woman is so dead inside that she's more concerned with the exterior, the optics, not the fact that they were going to kill a man, a human. No, just don't do it in front of my house. This is the wickedness that slavery bred in them. It's this lack of empathy, this evil. They took no notice of this, but kept on beating me, as I said before. Then they fastened me to the axle tree of their chaise. One of them got into the chaise, the other took my horse, and they run me all 8 miles as fast as they could. The one on my horse going behind to guard me. Can you imagine running someone 8 miles as if they're a horse, right? In this way, we came to my old master, Mr. Gooch. The first person I saw was himself. He unchained me from the chaise and at first seemed to treat me very gently, asking me where I'd been, etc. The first thing the sons did was to show the rasp which I had got to cut my chain. My master gave me a hearty dinner, the best he has ever given me, but it was to keep me from dying before he had given me all the floggings he intended. After dinner, he took me to the log house, stripped me quite naked, fastened a rail up high, tied my hands to the rail, fastened my feet together, put a rail between my feet, and stood on one end of it to hold it down. The 2 sons then gave me 50 lashes each. So they had lashed him when he ran away with the horse 100 times, so this is 150. And two of them did it, so I'm sorry, it's 200. And then the eldest did it 50 more times, and that's 250. And Mr. Gooch himself, 50 more times, that's 300. So we know this is a family affair, this genetic cruelty towards others. While doing this, his wife came out and begged him not to kill me, the first act of sympathy I ever noticed in her. When I called for water, they brought me a pailful and threw it over my back, plowed up by the lashes, so even then they wouldn't give him something to drink. After this, they took me to the blacksmith's shop, got 2 large bars of iron, which they bent round my feet, each bar weighing 20 pounds, 40 pounds of weight. Plus, he was beaten, lashed 300 times, and put a heavy log chain on my neck. This was on Saturday, and remember, these people are religious, so they stopped their torture on Sunday. So here comes on the Monday. He chained me to the same female slave as before. As he had to go out that day, he did not give me the punishment which he intended to give me every day. But at night, when he came home, he made us walk round his estate and buy all the houses of the slaves for them to taunt us. So it was not enough for him that he made his own family cruel towards this man. He had to draw in other enslaved people. When we came home, he told us we must be up very early in the morning and go to the fields before the other slaves. We were up at daybreak, but we could not get on fast on account of the heavy irons on my feet. We walked about a mile in 2 hours, but knowing the punishment he was going to inflict on us, we made up our minds to escape into the woods and hide themselves. So this is where I stop. But you got the clearer picture of what's going on, this extreme cruelty, and not only Moses, but this woman he's chained to, she also has a history of running away. But the enslavers, so dead inside that all the signs were clear. This is a horrible thing. We're running away. But they would just not let them go. Thanks so much for listening.